What is going on, everyone? I am DV, and as always, I would like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in for another all-new episode right here on Me and Mine TV. Now, a few months ago, I put out a video destroying the most dumbest debate in automotive history, which of course is the stupid V6 versus V8, how many engine cylinders you got debacle. And in the comment section of that video, just like a lot of the videos that I've done so far, a lot of people have been asking, in fact begging me, to make a video destroying the second dumbest debate in automotive history, which of course is the stupid automatic versus manual transmission discussion. Because let's be real for a moment here, if you own yourself a Ford Mustang, a Chevrolet Corvette, Chevrolet Camaro, or a Dodge Challenger, and you have that car in an automatic, what do you always hear from the car saying?
Oh, what, you got yourself an automatic? Oh, real men don't drive automatics. Oh, you're a puss for having a car in an automatic. Cause only women buy muscle cars in automatics. A bigger.
But ladies and gentlemen, even with all that said, I do have to admit something before we get started. I myself am a manual man. I need manuals. I love manuals. I got to have myself a manual. And there is no way on God's green earth that I would ever buy a car in an automatic if it was offered in a manual. Now, did you hear what I said? Did you notice how I said me and not we? Did you notice how I said I and not everyone? Did you notice how I said myself and not every motherfreaking person on this planet? Because I'm not one of these delusional dumbass people who think that my way is the best way and is the only way, and if you don't approve of that, then you need to kick rocks and get on the highway. Because the best way I can describe these people who think that is not even using a thought that actually originated from my brain. Because I have to address these people by a comment that was left on the previous video that I mentioned. Now, this comment comes from a YouTube friend who's also a Facebook friend, but more importantly, is a fellow V6 Bumblebee Camaro owner, my man, Mr. Keith May, because he left a comment on my V6 versus V8 dumbest argument in automotive history video that I think is the best way I have ever heard in my life to describe these delusional people. And I'm going to show you this comment on your screen, because all it takes is one person with common sense to hit that point home. Because when my man Keith May left that comment, I'm sitting here like, whoa, I just had a genuine moment of clarity, because his comment is the 100% most accurate truth. Because the people who sit here and complain about V6s or automatics don't live in 2016. They're thinking about how things used to be in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, long before my black ass was ever born. Because back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, manuals were better than automatics. They gave you better performance. They gave you better MPGs. But here in 2016, that's not necessarily the case. Because one thing I've come to realize about automatic versus manual, or V8 versus V6, the people who try to act as if they're better are trying to say like, oh, a V8's better than a V6. Oh, a manual's better than an automatic. But here in 2016, that's not really the case. Because I'm going to illustrate my point by using a car I know very well, the Chevrolet Corvette. Now, if the whole thing of talking about, oh, a manual is better than an automatic and only real men drive manuals, well, I got a little information for you people out there. Because if manuals were so better than automatics, does anybody other than me realize that a 2016 sixth generation 2SS Camaro in automatic will outrun its manual counterpart? So if manuals are so better than automatics and only real men drive manuals and only pussies drive automatics, well, for all those people out there who think that, the pussy with the automatic will outrun your real man bitch ass. Now, I'm gonna have to break this down to the true nitty gritty. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to get a little racial here, but you'll understand what I mean when I'm done. Because we in the black community, we have a saying that we like to utilize and emphasize on more than a handful of occasions. And that saying is, and I quote, "The loudest one in the room is a bitch." End quote. Now, some of you may be like, well, DV, I myself am not part of the black community, and I don't understand what that means. Do you mind illustrating it for me? Not a problem. Because the reason why we black folks say that the loudest one in the room is a bitch, because that person is afraid. He's terrified. He's frightened, shaking in his boots about being exposed as being a bitch. So he thinks that talking more loudly, using a more deeper and harsher tone will scare every mofo in the room and prevent them from coming up to him and challenging him, so he'll be exposed as being a bitch. So that's why each and every time I go to a car show or car gathering, or when I'm on Camaro5.com or any of the car social groups that I'm a part of, and I see or hear or read these people like V8, horsepower, 0 to 60, 6-speed manual. I'm sitting here thinking in the back of my mind, this person is a bitch. Why? Because any real driver out there, any real racer out there knows that we don't talk, we drive. And if you're sitting here like,
Oh, only real men drive manuals, and you don't drive automatics. Oh, you need a V8, but you gotta be 6.
anyone who knows me knows, someone wants to test me. What is the first thing and the only thing I say? Let's take it to the track. Let's prove what you're talking about is real. And that's when I always get the response.
Well, I ain't gonna race no V6. What the point of racing a V6? I ain't gonna get no automatic.
Well, if you ain't prepared to do anything, why don't you shut your dumb behind up? Because if you ain't gonna put it to the turf, if you ain't gonna do what you need to do in your car against another car, maybe you should shut the fuck up. Just a thought. Because the best way that I can bring this whole dumbass discussion to a conclusion is very simply saying this. One thing, it doesn't matter if we own a manual, it doesn't matter if we own an automatic. One thing we always hear are these people like,
Well, only real men drive manuals.
you know what real men do? Real men don't give a damn what another mofo is doing because they're too concerned about worrying about what they're doing with their own thing. You know what real men don't do? Real men have respect for anybody out there who chooses to do whatever it is they choose to do with their car.
But you know what? Real men don't drive automatics.
You know what real men don't do? Real men don't have time to be dealing with your dumb ass and your dumb ass comments. Because in closing, if you need a particular engine to feel more like a man, if you need a particular transmission to be more manly, I got news for you. You're not a man. You're a bitch. Thank each and every one of you for tuning into this edition of Me and Mine TV. Get sick and tired of dealing with these motherfuckers.